Hello and welcome to France 24 for a very special interview. My colleague, Valeria Sacone, correspondent for France 24 in Spanish, and I are in the Federal Police headquarters in Curitiba, where is being imprisoned for a year and a half the former president of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Hello, Mr. President. Thank you for receiving us for this exclusive interview.
Good morning, Fanny.
You have gone from being a symbol for the poor. Many of your initiatives, such as Bolsa Familia, were very popular. You were an icon for the left, and now you are in prison in Curitiba, condemned on charges of corruption. How have you been dealing with such a radical shift?
I approach this situation with a certain tranquility because I know what is happening in Brazil. We've been going through a very large process full of lies. Since the coup against President Dilma, they made up a story, a lie, and in the most dishonest way possible, they have revoked the mandate of a democratically elected president. And after Dilma's impeachment, I knew the next step would be what to do about Lula. It was necessary to get Lula out of the presidential dispute because it didn't make sense to get rid of Dilma with a false impeachment and let Lula become president again. So they had to remove any possibility of that happening. And that's why they made up a huge amount of lies, of falsehoods, and they started by making use of the federal police, the public prosecutor's office, of judicial powers, especially in the first and second instances, to make accusations against Lula. I didn't have to come here to the federal police. I could have gone to another country or to an embassy, but I decided to come here so I could prove my innocence. I want to prove that the liars are the ones who have accused me, and I will prove that. So I feel very at peace. I know what is happening in Brazil. I know of American interests in Brazil because of the discovery of the pre-salt oil region in 2007, which is the biggest oil reserve discovered in the 21st century, of trying to dismantle the laws we made to guarantee the oil would be for the Brazilian people. They never accepted that. And at the same time, this collusion was formed between the Public Prosecutor's Office, between Judge Moro, the United States Department of Justice, and the Brazilian press. So it is all these things tangled up, and that makes me at ease. I will prove that the thieves are the ones who put me in prison.
Exactly, you have always defended your innocence, stating that you were a victim of lies, like you said, of a scheme, but the large-scale corruption cases that involved Petrobras, for example, and other big companies, they happened. How can the president of a country like Brazil not have known about what was happening?
Look, first the president. I always joke that the president might always be the last to know about everything, because those who practice corruption do it in silence. Those who practice corruption don't want to be on the front page of the newspapers. Those who practice corruption are not always in the most central position in a company. Sometimes there are people in minor positions, and Petrobras is a company with a lot of governance. They have a civil society board, and those people that were committing those crimes, if they committed the crimes they are accused of, they are people who've been at Petrobras for over 30 years. They are people who went through their selection process, who are technically qualified.
You have said that you won't move to a semi-open regime because it would be a recognition of a guilt you don't admit. My question is, did you expect to be in prison for this long? Do you think you will be exonerated soon? And by which legal means?
I don't want a lighter sentence. I want my innocence. The correct word is innocence. Either these cowards who arrested me prove that I have committed a crime because I've proven I did not commit one, and they free me and apologize to the Brazilian people, okay? Or they will have to find another solution. because I want to leave here with my head held up high, just like I came in.
But did you expect to be here for this long?
No. I confess that when I came here, I had the expectation that something would be voted for, something that would have gotten me out of here quicker, because there was an ongoing process. It wasn't voted for, and now I've been here for a year and a half. What I need is, I will expose Moro, I will expose Dallagnol. It's a matter of time. They don't know what it is to mess with a Brazilian citizen who survived hunger until he was 5 years old, someone who doesn't die in the land where I was born until I was 5, isn't going to die because of a denunciation. They will learn what it is to mess with someone who is honest and decent.
Do you mean that you could be a candidate again in 2022, for example, against Sergio Moro, your sworn enemy?
Moro won't have the courage to be a candidate to the presidency. And if he is, he won't win. Because he hasn't got any proposals. He learned and memorized the part of the Brazilian criminal code and nothing more than that.
But will you have your run for presidency?
I won't say I'll be candidate, and I won't say that I won't be. I will let time pass and see what happens. All I want you to know is that I'm a 74-year-old man who feels I have the energy of a 30-year-old. And I want to get married when I leave here. For now, I want to fight to give back to this country its dignity, to give back to the Brazilian people the right to eat 3 times a day, the right to work, the right to study. That is what I want. The right to access culture, you know? People who are poorer don't have the right to go to the theatre, to go to a movie, to go to a music concert, you know?
We have seen over the years a wave of hate against the Workers' Party and against you taking over this country, with a society that is increasingly divided, more polarized. How can the Workers' Party get back to power?
I'm not sure if you know that when I left the presidency, I had 87% good and great ratings. Not approval, 87% were good and great, 10% were average, and 3% were bad and terrible. That means a part of the people who don't like me today liked me yesterday. And it is perfectly possible to get this support back with work and with political proposals. There isn't this anti-this, anti-Workers' Partyism, this anti... What there is 30% or 25% or 20% of people who prefer other organizations. That is normal, and it is a part of democracy. The same goes for Angela Merkel in Germany, the same goes for the Socialist Party, for the Conservative Party, you know, in France. The same goes for the Socialist Party in Spain. All over the world, it is always like that.
We are coming to the end of the interview, and I don't want to finish without asking about the Amazon. What to do now, from now on, about the Amazon? And what's the limit between the development for the populations that live there and the preservation of a rainforest that is important for regulating the climate on a global scale?
We may have had the biggest policies for environmental preservation Brazil has ever had. It was me, when I was president, who made the agreement with Germany and Norway for the creation of the Amazon Fund for Protection. You see, we need to understand that the Amazon is Brazilian. It is a territory where we have sovereignty, but that Brazil must be aware that the biodiversity of the Amazon, the ecosystem of the Amazon, matters for the whole planet. So it is important that we always have the possibility to create mechanisms for gathering funds so that we can protect the Amazon, and so that we can guarantee sustainable development, and so that we can industrialize the richness that biodiversity can guarantee in the planet's pharmaceutical industry. It is perfectly possible to do that. What is happening is that we are living through a moment of insanity, of a government that hasn't got any criteria for protection. Bolsonaro doesn't like the indigenous, he doesn't like the rubber tappers, he doesn't like trees, doesn't like the Workers' Party, doesn't like poor people, doesn't like trade unionists. He has said that the indigenous are bums, that black people are bums, that those affiliated with the Workers' Party should die. What does that mean? He doesn't like them.
Now, changing the subject, you have just been named honorary citizen of Paris. It is a title very few people have got. Why, when you see this, you're proud precisely of having gotten millions out of poverty in Brazil? Why do you think you seem to be better liked abroad, in other countries, than in your own land?
I can't complain, because I'm very well liked in Brazil. First, I want to thank the people of Paris, the city councillors of Paris, and the dear Mayor Anne Hidalgo for the honour I've been given. It made me very happy.
Yes, but we can see there is some anger, a form of demonization of your character by many people.
But then you see, that doesn't mean that I'm wrong. That means that some people who are demonizing me might be wrong. I will tell you that one of the reasons why people nurture a hate against me is because during my government, the poor started being able to travel on planes. The housemaids started to buy the perfume their bosses wore on a Friday to go out to dinner. The housemaid came to work wearing the same perfume on Monday. A housekeeper could buy a car. A gardener could buy a car. People started having rights, and that seems to bother a part of the middle class. Not only in Brazil, it seems to be in the whole world. You can't accept there being social inclusion.
These citizens, they have turned into a people of indebted consumers. Do you blame a bit your own policies or the Workers' Party?
No, let me tell you something. Why are you against consumption? I just want the people to have in their homes what you have in your home. That isn't being a consumerist. That's having rights. It's having the right to work, to get dressed, to live somewhere, to get to a university, to have access to a cell phone, to a computer, to eat lunch. It is having rights. This isn't a fickle consumption, of someone who wants to accumulate just to accumulate. People are not accumulating, people are surviving. So what I propose is this, that the Brazilian people can consume what they produce, that they can buy what they need and live a dignified life. Because without consumption, you haven't got a society.
What's the biggest lesson you will take from this experience when you live here?
I need to leave first to learn the lesson. For now, I'm still learning.
Thank you very much, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, for this exclusive interview. Thank you for following us, and stay tuned to France 24.